The ranch felt different when John came home. Not louder, not brighter, just breathing again. The truck rolled to a stop on the gravel, and the sound carried farther than it used to, as if the land itself had been waiting. His ribs ached with every breath, but something inside him stood straighter than it had in years. Phantom stepped down the ramp and stayed close, shoulder brushing John's side like a quiet promise. The horse's presence was steady, watchful, gentle as falling snow. John noticed things he hadn't before. The way the wind no longer sounded like a threat, the way the barn didn't echo so hollow. By sunset, neighbors arrived without announcement. A casserole left on the porch, a fence post reset without a word, a slow nod from men who didn't speak easily but meant everything they didn't say. John tried to thank them. His voice failed. Phantom lowered his head and waited. Sarah came a few days later, boots muddy, eyes careful. She walked the pasture with her father, hands buried in her jacket. She spoke softly about broken horses with nowhere to go, about pain that had nowhere to land. John shook his head. He said he was too tired to lose again, too old to keep stitching himself back together. Then a woman arrived with a child who hadn't spoken since the accident. The boy stood frozen by the fence, knuckles white, eyes wide. Phantom moved first. Slow, respectful. He lowered his head and breathed out warm air that steamed in the cold. The boy reached out without realizing he'd decided to. Phantom didn't flinch. He waited. Something in John gave way. Spring followed like it always does, quietly, stubbornly. Volunteers filled the ranch with the sound of hammers and laughter. New rails rose where broken ones had fallen. Phantom became the heart of it all, carrying fear without absorbing it, standing still while others found their footing. One evening, John spoke about Martha. Just her name at first, then more. The ache stayed, but it no longer ruled him. On the barn wall, John painted her name in careful strokes. Phantom grazed nearby, strong, free, alive. John watched the light stretch across the land and understood, at last, that saving one broken soul could echo far beyond a single life. By the time the snow melted, the town was already splitting at the seams. Whispers moved faster than the wind, carrying names, dates, half-buried truths. Stories of other animals surfaced, ribs counted in shadowed barns, scars hidden under dust and silence. One by one, former owners stepped forward, voices shaking, hands clenched. The man who once arrived in a polished truck stopped, showing his face in daylight. His reputation collapsed the way rot finally gives beneath weight. John felt every cold morning in his bones. The bruises faded, but the pain lingered like a low thunder under his skin. Sleep became a battleground. He woke to Phantom's hooves striking the stall walls, the echo of panic tearing through the dark. Some nights John swore he smelled the storm again, heard the crack of violence in the wind. He learned to sit on the barn floor until the shaking stopped, whispering names, reminding them both where they were. Trust did not return all at once. It came in inches. One afternoon, a diesel engine growled on the road. Phantom exploded sideways, eyes wild, muscles locked to flee or fight. Dust rose. John's heart hammered. For a breathless second, the past reached for them both. John dropped the lead rope. He didn't pull. He didn't shout. He stood still and breathed. "It's over," he said, though his voice trembled. Phantom's chest heaved. Slowly, the horse turned back toward him. Healing, John understood, does not move in straight lines. It stumbles. It circles. It asks for patience more than courage. The courthouse was heavy with heat and silence the day of sentencing. Wood creaked. Papers rustled. When the gavel fell, the sound cut clean and final. Charges. Years. Consequences spoken aloud. Outside, Phantom stood calm, ears soft, sunlight warming his coat. No fear. No fury. John rested a hand against Phantom's neck and felt the steady pulse beneath. Justice wasn't about revenge. It was about ending the harm. About making sure the trail of cruelty stopped here. After the noise faded, what remained was silence, so gentle it no longer hurt. The ranch breathed in slow rhythms again. Wind moved through the grass without anger. Doors no longer slammed in the night. John noticed it first in the smallest places. The way morning light rested on the kitchen table where Martha once set her hands, the faint echo of her humming caught in the clink of a spoon. He didn't turn when he thought he heard her. He smiled. Phantom felt it too. The horse stood easier now, weight balanced, eyes soft. He followed John not from fear or need, but from trust. Two hearts, once braced for loss, learning how to rest. A boy arrived one afternoon, quiet as a shadow. He had lost his mother the year before and spoke only when necessary. John didn't ask questions. He leaned on the fence and waited. Phantom stepped closer, slow and careful, breath warm in the cool air. The boy pressed his forehead into Phantom's neck and stayed there. No words passed between them. None were needed. From the porch, Sarah watched her father kneel in the dirt beside them, steady and present, not broken, not hiding. Alive. That evening, John carried a bucket of water to the porch and stopped. The rocking chair sat where it always had, dust softening its edges. For months, it had felt like a wound he refused to touch. This time he wiped it clean, not to forget, to remember. He ran his hand along the armrest and whispered thank you. The ache remained, but it no longer demanded silence. Grief loosened its grip and made room for gratitude. Before dawn, John saddled Phantom. Mist clung low to the ground as they moved toward the mountains. The sky blushed with first light, peaks glowing gold and quiet. John rode without urgency, breathing in the cold, feeling Martha in the stillness, in the strength beneath him, in the path stretching forward. This wasn't an ending. It was love, continuing.